Morning everybody, it is day number 3 of our Lowbuck vacation. We're camped at Big Burland, north of Hinton, Alberta, south of Grand Cache. And today, probably not going to film much, it's just going to kind of be a travel day. We're going to pack up and get in the car and head north to Grand Prairie. Well, first we got to go through Grand Cache, then Grand Prairie, up Highway 40, kind of along the western edge of Alberta, and then hopefully the plan is to cross into Dawson Creek, BC, and be at mile 0 of the Alaska Highway before the end of the day. So we might take a few shots as we're driving or whatever, but probably won't be doing too much filming today. So talk to you in a bit. Here we are rolling into the town of Grand Cache, Alberta. Another actual coal mining town that's still active today. All right, we're at our first stop on the Alaska Highway. We stopped in Dawson Creek at mile 0, and I forgot to take some video, but I'll put up a still photo here we took with the car at the mile 0 sign. But now we're a little ways up at this cool bridge. I think it's called the Kiskatinaw Bridge, and it's cool because it's wooden and curved, as you can see. So built, it would have been built as part of the original Alaska Highway in 1942 or 43, and it's closed now. You can start to see some of the wood rotting away, and so it's closed to, you can see they've got barricades up there. It's closed to vehicles, but we just walked across it. There's a view from, hope I don't drop my phone here, view from over the edge, but would have taken an amazing amount of manpower and engineering to build this old curved wooden bridge. So there we go, our first site on the Alaska Highway. Beautiful day. There's people jumping off the rocks into the river underneath us, but anyways, we are officially on the Alaska Highway and headed north, so we'll fire up the camera again in a little while. All right, and here is where we are camping for the night of day number 3 of our Lowbuck vacation. We are 130 miles up the Alaska Highway, a little place called Doohoo Lake. Got the whole campground to ourselves. And it was a little muddy trail coming in here, so hope it doesn't rain overnight, because the tires on that Durango are gonna make it a challenge to get out of here if it's muddy. But anyways, that's it for day number 3. And now we're heading further north, and in a bunch of places there's these stretches of the old Alaska Highway. We're heading down one of those right now. But as the years have gone on, they've straightened and realigned the new highway, so there's some of these stretches of old highway here, so we're just going down one of those now. And we're just continuing up the Alaska Highway here. Just stopped to take a shot of some scenery here. Muncho Lake. Head up to Liard Hot Springs for the night. All right, guys, we are here at Liard Hot Springs. This is we got here on the night of day number 4. We stayed at the campground right close to here. Had a nice soak in the hot springs last night, and we're gonna continue further north today and hopefully make it into the Yukon today. So I'll talk to you guys in a bit. All right, guys, good morning. It is day number 5 of our Lowbuck vacation, And we just backtracked from up the road a mile or so, came back to the Liard River here. And that suspension bridge is original Alaska Highway equipment built in 1943. And you can see they're doing some work on it right now. But that's apparently the last original suspension bridge on the Alaska Highway. All right, so we're just a little ways up the road from where we spent the night on the night of number 4 at Liard Hot Springs. We are at Smith River Forest Service Road, and there's another one of those airstrips that were on the northwest staging route. So we're gonna go explore up here a little ways and see how far we can make it. All right, we're still looking for that Smith River airstrip. Driven probably 40 or 50 kilometers into the bush on that Smith River Forest Service Road. Haven't found the airstrip yet, but we did find this old Army Jeep abandoned by the side of the road. So that's probably 1940s vintage from when they were originally doing construction and stuff up in this area. So it's probably left here courtesy of the US Army. And we found this big structure up in the woods here too, right near where I think that airstrip is, and found another foundation or two back in the woods. See what we can see inside here. Obviously it's kind of all fallen down and stuff, but the fact that there's conduit and stuff here leads me to believe that this wasn't like a house or something, that it was probably military related. I don't want to get stuff falling on me here, but yeah, this is conduit like an industrial application. Another room here. Just go look around the other side here. There's a few more rooms back in here. That would have been a bathroom or something. This room has like a workbench, and I'm a little hesitant to. And then this part's all collapsed in here, but. This is what it looks like from the other side. But yeah, I'm thinking this may have been some kind of base station or something related to that Smith River airport. I'm thinking this may have been the runway at that Smith River airport. We're gonna drop a pin here. It's kind of grown in with, but it's looks like a area where the trees have been cleared, and we've seen some like empty fuel barrels and stuff like that. So I'm thinking this may have at one point, if you look to the sides, there's quite a distance between the tall trees, so I'm thinking this may have been the Smith River airport. And there's more fuel barrels right there. Alright, we have made it to the Yukon. We are in Watson Lake, Yukon. And this is that signpost forest. There's apparently 40,000 signs. And this was started by soldiers in building the original Alaska Highway. Missing home, and put up a sign saying how far away their hometown was. And now 40,000 people have done the same, so pretty cool. So we're here at the airport in Watson Lake, and this was another stop on that northwest staging route where they actually flew planes that the US military loaned out planes to Russia. So they had a series of 5 airfields that existed before the Alaska Highway, and this was one of them. And there you can see the old original control tower from would have been the 1940s. And same with this building here, this giant hangar that says BC Yukon Air Service is original, built by the US military back in the 40s, so kind of cool to see. Alright guys, windy out here, but end of day 5, we have made it to Whitehorse, capital of the Yukon, and we're gonna get a hotel tonight after staying in the tent for 4 nights in a row. So had a good day, put on a lot of miles today, and have made it to Whitehorse. We're gonna spend a few days here exploring the area. So. And here we are at the SS Klondike. We just did like a guided tour with Parks Canada. This is like a national historic site, and I got to see this with my dad in 1987, and now I get to see it with my teenage son in 2021. So it was a neat tour. Alright, we're here at the airport in Whitehorse. They have this giant DC-3 as a weather vane. We're gonna go into this Yukon Transportation Museum and check that out. Alright, we are continuing to explore in the Whitehorse area. We're at Miles Canyon. We're gonna go across this suspension bridge built in 1922. And Miles Canyon is just where the river gets really narrow here. And it's quite the obstacle for the gold miners, I guess, who are coming up to the Yukon in the gold rush. So we're gonna hike up the trail on that side to the site of an old ghost town called Canyon City. Alright, so we have hiked up the Yukon River a kilometer and a bit to the site of the old Canyon City ghost town. That's the old tramway wagons that rode on logs. And then there's something interesting going on around here. There's a bunch of people with like headsets and ribbons dancing in the forest, so I'm not totally sure what's going on there, but anyways, we're at Canyon City. We're gonna hike back towards Miles Canyon and probably head back to our campsite. Morning everybody. I think it's the morning of day number 7 of our trip. We are at our campground. We camped near Carcross Cutoff, just outside of Whitehorse. A nice little campground that has Wi-Fi and showers. Only problem is it's a little close to the main highway going into Whitehorse, so a little bit noisy. But anyways, this morning we're gonna head down to the Carcross area, visit. There's a few more old historic sites on the Carcross Desert, which we will show you guys. I know it's weird, desert in the Yukon, but anyways, that's the direction we're gonna go, so we will fire up the camera again a little bit later. Alright guys, we are at our first stop on the morning of day number 7 of our Lowbuck vacation. We are at the old Robinson Roadhouse, and it is down south of Whitehorse on the way to like Carcross and Skagway. And apparently it was a roadhouse that's built on the side of the White Pass and Yukon Railway. You can see the rails still over there. I'll go have a closer look at them in a bit, but it's basically a stopping point because it was right on the Robinson siding of the White Pass and Yukon Railway, so miners would come here to pick up their freight and their mail and send out their ore. So we'll go have a look. There's also some pretty old cabins in the back there. So this would have been the old White Pass and Yukon railway line. It's all grown in now, but so this would have been the railway between Skagway and Whitehorse, and it's actually still in use down by Skagway. We would have liked to have gone on it, but because the borders aren't open yet because of COVID, we can't cross the border into Alaska. So this is the old White Pass Yukon rail line. You can see the Robinson Roadhouse is right beside the rails here, so that's what made it a popular place, I guess. So, anyways, we're gonna continue on down the road to I think our next stop is Carcross and the Carcross Desert, so talk to you guys in a bit. And here we are at the Carcross Desert. It's supposed to be one of the smallest deserts in the world. It's like only a square mile or something. So we're gonna walk in here a little ways and check it out. So we've just walked in a little further here. There's some people hiking up that big sand dune there, but basically surrounded by sand. Alright, super windy here, so I don't know if you guys will be able to hear much, but this is one of the sites that I remember visiting with my dad in 1987, and now I am here with my teenage son in 2021. This is the old Venus mine south of Carmax, or Carcross, sorry. And I'm pretty sure when we were here, the water definitely wasn't as high, and there was some structures down, I think, down there. The wind is really howling here, but that used to be the mine manager's house, but now it's, water's come up and it's like, and this used to be more complete, like a lot of the structure has been damaged and isn't safe to, I'm pretty sure we actually went in it and explored around back in 1987, but probably not safe to do that right now. But if you look further up the mountain, I'll try to zoom in here, you can see some structure up there. And right there you can see, I don't know exactly what that is, if that's a mine shaft, and another one up there. Zoom out here again. There it is, the old Venus mine that I visited with my dad in 1987. Here's just a view from the other side. You can see an old boiler. Buildings that have washed up on the lake shore. There it is, the old Venus mine. Alright guys, it's windy again. We are at the border of Alaska. We did try get into Alaska. The Customs and Border Patrol station is like 8 miles past the actual border, so we did make it 8 miles into Alaska, but then got turned around when we actually had to try and go through customs there. So made it 8 miles in, but got turned around. So, and it's pretty cloudy and foggy around south of Carcross. Almost, we were probably like, yeah, 8 miles out of Skagway or something like that. And we got turned around. So heading back north. Gonna go back to the Whitehorse area and stay at least one more night there and explore what they call the Copper Belt there. So I'm gonna head north now and probably grab some lunch and go exploring. So talk to you guys in a bit. Alright guys, good morning. It is morning. I think it's day number 8 of our trip. Been going for over a week now. This morning we stayed at that same campsite by just outside of Whitehorse here, and now we're heading west. It's kind of a rainy day, rained most of the night, but we're heading west to Kluane National Park, which is the home of the highest mountain in Canada, Mount Logan. So we're gonna go climb that mountain. No, just kidding. We're going to check out the park, and there's a ghost town around there, Silver City, and there's also a little hike we're gonna do to Soldier Summit, which is the point where the two of the teams that were building the Alaska Highway met each other through the bush, and they had basically completed the Alaska Highway and had like a ceremony there in like minus 35 in I think it was the fall of 1942 when they finished the road. So and that part is on the old Alaska Highway that isn't in use anymore, but apparently you can still hike up to that spot. So we're gonna go do that hike, go check out the Silver City ghost town. There's a couple other little towns out there, and check out Kluane Lake, and yeah, see what we can see out there. Hopefully the weather is better out in that direction. We'll see when we get there, so talk to you guys in a bit. All right, we have made it to Kluane Lake on the edge of the Alaska Highway and on the edge of Kluane National Park, which is just over there. But it's pretty cloudy today, so we can't see, like, well, even if it wasn't cloudy, we couldn't see Mount Logan, which is the tallest mountain in Canada. But there's a place you could hike up to see the glaciers and stuff, but with the weather being like it is, I don't think we drove through a lot of rain on the way here, and it's still pretty cloudy, so I don't think we'd be able to see what we want to see anyways. But anyways, there's Kluane Lake, and we're at the site of the Silver City ghost town. There's one of the cabins there. We'll make our way back towards the Alaska Highway and show you a bunch of the other cabins here. So like I said, we're at that Silver City ghost town. A lot of the buildings have been flattened. You can see there's one there, one across the road there. I think there's a few more up in the bushes there. But this one here is still standing, but just the front wall of it. Let me zoom out a little here. And that is, yeah, mostly flattened. So gravity is taking its toll on these old buildings. But we'll go look across the road there and see what we can see. Here's another cabin at Silver City that's partially standing. But if you look through the window, you can see the roof is kind of collapsed in on it. It's got one of them dirt roofs. And then there's another cabin in behind it here that's partially collapsed. And here's a few more cabins by the side of the road at Silver City. Looks like there's some kind of cart or wagon in front of this one. Just zoom in a bit. Oh, it's an old car or truck. Oh yeah, there's the engine block still sitting in it. Would have been a straight 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, straight 6 the old manual transmission, and you can see the clutch down in there. Drive shaft still, muffler. I don't know what kind of vehicle that would have been. Old Ford or something. But and then there's one cabin over there. Another one over there. And one right here. And same deal. Walls are still standing, but roof has collapsed. And we found one last cabin here. Probably the last structure we're gonna look at here at Silver City. Same deal, walls are standing, roof has collapsed, but you can see right there the sod that would have been the roof. And back in there you can see what would have been the chimney sticking out of the roof, and the piece of tin there that would have been the flashing around the chimney on the roof to keep the water out. But that is pretty much it for what we're gonna look at Silver City. So now we're gonna head up the road to a hike in Kluane National Park and go to Soldier Summit there, like I talked about earlier in the video, where the two crews working on the Alaska Highway met up and finished the highway for the final stretch of it and had a little ceremony and stuff. So we're gonna go check that out. All right, we are still in Kluane National Park. There's another view of Kluane Lake. We're about to head up the Soldier Summit Trail, which goes up there along a section of the old Alaska Highway. And I think there's another section going off that way, but we're gonna head up there and go to the spot where the two construction crews that were working on the Alaska Highway met up and finished the project basically. So this would have been old original Alaska Highway that they plowed out in 1942 on our way up to Soldier Summit here. We're just up here on the old Alaska Highway. You can see the new Alaska Highway down there, and island, and Kluane Lake right there. And here we are up at Soldier Summit. You can see the official plaque marking where they first opened the Alaska Highway and the two crews met on November 20th, 1942. In a temperature below -30. There you can see Kluane Lake. Two flags, they're flying at half mast in memory of the unmarked indigenous graves that they've found recently at residential schools. So that's why they're halfway down. There's the other section of what would have been the old original 1942 Alaska Highway. Up there are red chairs that are common at quite a few national park and national historic sites. And down there, if I zoom in, you can just see a little bit of the brand new Alaska Highway. So anyways, it's starting to rain up here, so we're gonna head back to the car, and I think we're gonna wrap up the video for today. Just gonna head back to Whitehorse and spend the night there, and then in the morning we're gonna pack up our tent and head up to Dawson City. So morning everybody, it is day number 10 I think of our Lowbuck vacation, and we have made it to Dawson City. You can see the town of Dawson down the hill below us there. We're up on what they call the Midnight Dome, which when travelers were riding the old paddle boats from Whitehorse, that's how they knew they were getting close to Dawson City. It was, they could see this Midnight Dome on the shore of the river. So anyways, we've made it. We're gonna go down and explore. There's another National Historic Site in Dawson here, and another boat and stuff, and a big old mining dredge. So we're gonna go to the visitor information center and see what kind of tours and what kind of stuff we can explore. So we will talk to you guys in a bit. All right, guys, we're on day 11 here of our trip. Packed up our campsite in Dawson City this morning. We found a place to stay in a bunkhouse here in Dawson for the next night or two. So we're due for a shower and sleeping indoors again. But for the afternoon today, we're gonna take a ferry across the Yukon River to the west shore from Dawson and go explore. There's a sternwheeler graveyard or paddlewheeler graveyard where a bunch of these old paddle wheel steamboats were just pulled up on the shore. I don't think there's a whole bunch left of them, but we're gonna go check it out and then continue further west almost into Alaska again. There's a couple ghost towns there, one called 40 Mile and one called Clinton Creek, I think. So that's our plan for the afternoon. And then we're going to come back to Dawson City here. So that's the plan. So there's the little ferry that we're going to be taking across the Yukon River. Also seems to be a boat taking off on the Yukon River back there somewhere. So plane getting ready to take off earlier today. Hunting or something. But that is the ferry that's going to take us over there to the other side of the river. Alright, so we're in this Yukon River campground. Just, you can see the Yukon River right down there. It's just on the west side of the Yukon River. And we're going to hike north along the shore and try and find this paddle wheel graveyard. I think it's this trail right here. Alright, we have just come up to this what they call the Paddlewheeler graveyard. There's at least 3 of these big steam powered stern wheelers here. Obviously fairly collapsed and stuff, but zoom out a bit. But anyways, I got this little drone here that we haven't used yet on this trip, so we're gonna, I've had a couple times I've wanted to use it, but it's either been too windy or over water or in a place where I haven't wanted to use it. But here it's fairly calm, so here's a different view. Just walked up the hill a little bit. You can see big old smokestacks there. Let me zoom out again. And really not much left at all of these huge ships. We'll go around and look at the back end there too, but first maybe I'll throw this drone up and see how that works. So we're kind of climbing our way up onto the pile here. Looking back that way, you can see another old ship in the woods back there, and more of the wheelhouse. If you look down here, you can actually see the boiler. But I think I'm gonna fire up this drone and see what we can see with that thing. Alright, so we came west from Dawson, crossed that ferry, took what they call the top of the world highway, and now we were back on the edge of the Yukon River again. You can see it's a lot wider back there. And we are about to hike into the site of 40 Mile, which is oldest ghost town in the Yukon apparently, and where they found gold even before the Klondike gold rush. People were staking claims and mining for gold up here, and then when they found gold in the Klondike at Dawson City, they pretty much abandoned this place and went to Dawson. So we're going to hike down that trail right there, which goes back there too, and go check out 40 Mile. Alright, so we hiked about a mile down the river, still on the banks of the big Yukon River there, and come to our first, this is 40 Mile St. James Anglican Mission, which was used regularly until the 1930s and occasionally into the 1950s. It looks like the lock is off the door, so let's have a look inside. Pretty much just an empty log building. And this is the next building we came to. Apparently this is the Northwest Mounted Police Station from like the early 1902 or something like that. And a telegraph building as well, but this one's got a lock on it, so we can't go inside. There's another cabin at 40 Mile. It says General Store, David Swanson, proprietor. Big old moose rack. And it says building for emergency use only, but there's not a lock on it, so nice moose handle. Yeah, the wood stove. Shelves with various items. Old 1898 TV remote there. Welcome to the 40 Mile Historic Site. Swanson's General Store, one of the few remaining standing historic buildings in the 40 Mile town site, protected under the Historic Resources Act. A few old magazines and cookbooks, bed, some posters and art on the walls, books on the shelf, assorted cutlery and utensils, and some pots and pans, and a big old pot and a place to cook on the big old wood stove. Here's the next building we're coming to at 40 Mile here. I'm not sure what this one is, but it's fairly big. Let's go have a look inside. It's like a big, I don't know, workshop or something. There's some industrial, giant piece of chain there. Some kind of cranks and wheels and a runner from a sled or sleigh. An old tent heater, wood stove type of thing. Some big pipes. Another stove. Still got that big chain running down the ground. An old barrel. And some kind of big old drum. I don't know if that was another stove or it looks like it's got a pipe and stuff coming out the top of it, so not sure what that would have been used for. There's a look other way. Then we go out the other entrance here. Alright, so that was the ghost town of 40 Mile, oldest ghost town in the Yukon. And now we're going to head over to what I think is one of the newest ghost towns in the Yukon, Clinton Creek, which is was an asbestos mine nearby. And so we're going to check that out. I think it operated in like the 1980s or something, but we're going to go have a look at Clinton Creek since it's just up the road here. So we're going to head over there. All right, just having a look around in the bush in the area near where Clinton Creek town was. Not sure. Oh. All right, so we started filming in what I figured was the town site of Clinton Creek, and it turns out, yes, it is. We're right in the middle of where the town of Clinton Creek is. And a guy came riding up on his ATV, and turns out he bought the town of Clinton Creek 18 years ago and all of the land that it's on, and kind of gave us a bit of a rundown. There's not much left. We're driving down one of the roads of the town of Clinton Creek, and he said he could kind of see some of where the houses and stuff were. That would have been one of the streets there. Let's go up there. And there was, he said the power plant was down by his house, and there was a big tank that was the fuel tank for the generators for the power plant. But there's not much left, and Mother Nature has pretty much taken over here. So you can see where some of the driveways and stuff would have been, he said, but like maybe there's a bit of an opening. Not sure if that would have been a driveway or another street or something, but not much left to see in the town of Clinton Creek. So we might head up towards the actual mine where the asbestos mine was and see if there's anything to see up there. But as of down here, there's not a whole bunch. And there's a nice little warning sign for us. So there's flash flooding and many physical hazards, including asbestos, unsafe buildings, and deep holes that may not be visible. So, and airborne asbestos fibers and dust are a health hazard and may result in serious illness in the event of inhalation. So, we'll just go see what's a little further down the road here. So there's one of the big mining pits. And there, if you look down in the valley, there's probably, looks like what would have been like a punch drill or some kind of drill, and a big excavator type shovel. Big excavator type shovel for doing the mining. And I think we're somewhere close to where that shaft would have been that we were looking up at from the road. But there's one of the big mining pits. I might just scramble down a little bit here and see if we can see that shaft. Yeah, I just scrambled down a bit further here, and we're right at that, what appeared to be a shaft, which is actually probably some kind of ore transporting conveyor or hopper or something. But there's another view of that excavator and drill, and another view of that mining pit. So we're gonna scramble back up. There's one other pit I saw on our way in here that we'll stop and take a bit of video of, and then we'll start making our way back to town. But this would have been the Clinton Creek mine. Just went a little bit further up, found another pit and mine tailings there, and then across the road here, there's another big pit. Holy, I don't want to fall over the edge or anything, but there is, yeah, would have been the big main pit with a bunch of probably contaminated water in the bottom, all dug out through there. Just a giant hole in the ground where they would have hauled out asbestos. Here's another view of that big pit. I was just up on that ridge over there looking down where you could see the water accumulated in the bottom of the pit. And then I noticed a structure up on the other side. Right, oh, now it's just gonna focus on my finger, but right in the center of the frame there, there's some kind of tower, or I'm not sure what that would be doing way up in the trees there, but another structure up there. But anyways, it's about 7:45. Now we've got 2 hours to get back to Dawson City and a ferry to catch and stuff. So there is the Clinton Creek mine site. We're gonna hit the road and get back to Dawson Creek and stay in the bunkhouse there and have a shower and have some food and get ready for another day tomorrow. So have a good night, and we'll talk to you in the morning. All right, guys, doing our first Yukon tire, well, no, this is our second Yukon tire change. When we were going down that road, or coming back up the road from 40 Mile and Clinton Creek, we had a flat and went into Dawson. The tire was unrepairable, so we limped the car back to Whitehorse on the spare because they didn't have the right tire in Dawson City. So we've got a new tire here. We're changing it in the Canadian Tire parking lot in Whitehorse, Yukon. So, and then we are heading home. So, wanted to see a couple more sites, but this spare tire kind of delayed us, and now we've got to get back home. I want to have a day or two before I go back to work on Monday to clean out the car and stuff at home. So I'm gonna change this tire and start making our way back south. All right, guys, day number 14. It is our last day of eating cereal beside the tent in a cloud of bugs in the morning. We're making our way home. We stayed at Liard Hot Springs, or in the parking lot across from Liard Hot Springs, as the actual campground was full. But anyways, making our way home. Tonight we've got a Airbnb booked in Fort St. John, so this will be our last night of tenting. So yeah, it'll be a 15-day trip, but kind of looking forward to getting home now after 14 days of mostly sleeping in the tent. But yeah, we're gonna hit the road shortly and head for Fort St. John. All right, guys, end of day 15 of the Lowbuck vacation. We are about a block from home. Ryan's been driving for the last several hours and coming to the end of our Lowbuck vacation. Here we are pulling up at home. We have got on the odometer 7,689.5 kilometers. And here we are. You can tell it's our driveway because there's a nice big oil stain there. Here we are at home. End of our vacation. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll talk to you on the next one.